Leinbach, and I want to welcome you to our Commissioners meeting for February the 9th. We're broadcasting live on Microsoft Teams live event and also on BCTV, as well as Facebook and YouTube Live. At this time, I'd like to ask everyone to stand for a moment of silence, followed by a pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I failed to mention we should definitely keep the nation of Turkey in our prayers. I saw this morning the numbers, death toll has gone up dramatically. It's now worse than the tsunami that took place, that took out the, I'm going to say it wrong, Fukushima nuclear power plant a number of years ago, and it's expected to get worse. So keep the people of Turkey in your prayers. Just really difficult times for them. Are there any additions or corrections for the February 2nd Commissioner meeting minutes? Hearing none, the minutes will stand approved as presented. We did have two executive sessions, one on February 3rd dealing with personnel, and another on February the 8th dealing with security, contract negotiations, and personnel. At this time, I'll recognize my executive assistant, Anne Marie Grill, to read the public comment policy.
Thank you, Commissioner Leinbach. Public comment will be accepted in person and through the Q&A function. Please include your first name, last name, and municipality for all comments. Any comments without name and municipality will not be considered. Each citizen can submit one comment. Comment length is dictated by the limitations of the platform being used, Teams Q&A, Facebook, YouTube. In-person comments will be accepted first, followed by comments submitted virtually. The meeting comment period is limited to a total of 30 minutes, including both in-person and virtual comments. This time period may be extended at the discretion of the board. Please be concise. Comments that are germane to county business will be read during the meeting and should not be considered to be interactive dialogue with the commissioners. The county solicitor shall be the final arbiter of whether a comment is germane and should be read. Any commissioner response to public comment will be done at the discretion of the commissioners.
Thank you very much. Is there any public comment on specific agenda items? I don't see anyone in person and there's none online. So we will move ahead with our agenda. Item 1, authorizing Budget Department. Adopt a resolution authorizing 2022 budget transfers in the amount of $14,749 and 2022 appropriations in the amount of $294,559. 2023 budget transfers in the amount of $42,240 and 2023 appropriations in the amount of $37,859 per listing dated February the 3rd of 2023. I want to give kudos to Bob Patrizio, our CFO, and his team. Recently, we were contacted by Moody's for a bond rating review, and actually it was couched in the terms of a bond rating downgrade. And the reason for that was the rules and criteria around bond ratings have changed. They become tougher. And the assumption was, since we were one at the time, one of 5 counties that had a AAA plus stable outlook bond rating, that that wouldn't continue at that level. Last week, we got the report after, and Bob really deserves a lot of credit. And my colleague here and our other team know, Bob wasn't going to let them just say, you're the 9th largest county in the Commonwealth. You don't have the tax base that others do. He went into the bond rating call prepared with data showing that financially Berks County is better than many of the other southeastern counties across the board, no matter what you look at. And we came out holding on to our AAA plus stable outlook bond rating. Very exciting. And it's important. A lot of people don't know that when we went into this rating, probably 3-4 years ago, we were in the middle of a bond refinancing. And by kicking up to the top rating, that we saved $600,000 in interest on that bond refinancing because of the rating. So people ask, why is the rating important? You're borrowing more money. Actually, some of the things beyond the tax base that is very strong in Berks County, beyond the economic development, are the fiscal policies of the county. We have continued to pay down debt. That is a significant issue. And we've continued to increase budget reserves, not at some astronomical level. I think we're roughly, is it 160 million unreserved fund balance right now. Total budget with both state and federal money and local money is over $600 million. But I'm not sure there's another county in the Commonwealth in a better spot. But Bob deserves a lot of credit because the Moody's came in believing that we were going to be downgraded, and that didn't happen. And it didn't happen because Bob's told us, I'm not going to let that happen. I think they're missing the real picture on Berks County, and they agree. So I normally don't jump in, but I thought going over the budget department, it was appropriate. I don't know, Commissioner, if you want to say anything. I know I'm putting you on the spot, but.
I had it for the end as well. But yeah, I do want to congratulate Bob and his team. Jokingly said to Bob that he can now get a full night's sleep because he was saying that he was losing sleep over the bond rating. So he worked at it and worked at it and worked at it. And it was his goal to keep the rating, and he was able to do it. I know many times we joke with Bob, and Bob said he watches the county's money more than his own money. Mm-hmm. So we do appreciate all that Bob and his team do for the county and making sure that taxpayer dollars are well spent and well managed here.
Yep. Thank you. Continuing with the agenda, several items under human resources. Item 1, authorize the appointment of Yadira Ramos to Senior Financial Analyst, Office of Budget and Finance. Item 2, authorize the appointment of Brianna Davis to Quality Assurance Supervisor, Office of Adult Probation and Parole. Item 3, authorize the appointment of Stephen Saman to Fiscal Manager, Children and Youth Services. And item 4, authorize the transfer of Jennifer Hack from time forensic interviewer to full-time forensic interviewer in the District Attorney's Office. We have one item listed under purchasing, adopt a resolution authorizing the recommendation to award and the Director of Contracts and Procurement to execute a contract as a result of an invitation to bid for fuel oil, that's number 2 heating oil, ultra low sulfur diesel fuel and gasoline for a period of 1 year to be utilized by the County of Berks and 18 participating members of the Berks County Cooperative Purchasing Council. That goes to PAPCO Inc. out of Aston, Pennsylvania. The estimated annual expenditure is $882,932.66. The annual expenditure that is the Berks portion is $98,188.87. Solid Waste Authority, adopt a resolution approving submission of the application for reimbursement for a county recycling coordinator to the Pennsylvania Department of Environmental Protection, Bureau of Waste Management for reimbursement of 50% of the salary, benefits, and expenses paid to the Berks County Recycling Coordinator for the calendar year 2022, known as the 903 Recycling Grant Coordinator Grant. There's one item listed under me. adopt a resolution authorizing the appointment of Debbie Stutzman, Fleetwood, Pennsylvania, to the Berks County Children and Youth Advisory Board to fill the remainder of a 3-year term, which will expire on December 31st of 2024. Several items listed under the commissioners. Item A, adopt a resolution authorizing the chair to execute the certification statement and attestation statement for the Human Service Block Grant Income and Expenditures Report for fiscal year 2021 through 2022. Item B, adopt a resolution authorizing the execution of a revised fiscal year 2020-2021 early intervention income and expenditure report to the Pennsylvania Department of Human Services, reflecting a decrease of $1,672 in grant fund adjustments for fiscal year 2019 through 2020. Item C, adopt a resolution authorizing the chair to execute a memorandum of understanding between the City of Reading and the County of Berks for the allocation of $10,707 to the Berks County law enforcement departments. Item D, adopt a resolution authorizing Christine Sadler, solicitor, to execute the letter from Hoffman and Hlavik, attorneys at law, requesting an increase in the hourly rate for the continued legal services provided to the County of Berks. Item E, adopt a resolution authorizing the memorandum of agreement between the County of Berks and the American Federation of State, County, and Municipal Employees, District Council 88, regarding personnel changes due to the closure of the Berks County residential facility. Item F, adopt a resolution authorizing the settlement agreement between the County of Berks and Teamsters Local 429 Union for reimbursements related to duty belt purchases. Item G, adopt a resolution authorizing the Chief Operations Officer, or in the event of his absence, the Deputy Chief Operations Officer, to execute future amendments to the agreement between the County of Berks and South Central Transit Authority for the purpose of exercising an option to increase or decrease the total number of parking spaces reserved pursuant to said agreement through December 31st of 2024. Item H, adopt a resolution authorizing a letter of support to the Department of Community and Economic Development supporting the Colebrookdale Railroad Preservation Trust application to the COVID-19 ARPA PA Arts and Culture Recovery Program through Pennsylvania Department of Community and Economic Development. Item 2, a motion to authorize execution of contract agreements and amendments as set forth on the attached listing dated February the 16th. There are 14 contracts. There are 2 with Children Youth Services and JPO, they're joint, 3 with Children and Youth Services, 1 with the Commissioners, 1 with the Department of Emergency Services, 1 with Facilities, 1 with Human Resources, 1 with Information Systems, 2 with the Berks County Jail, and 2 with Mental Health and Developmental Disabilities. Item 3, a motion to authorize execution of payments and electronic transfers, bless you, as set forth on the Controller's Office voucher listing dated February the 9th of 2023. Item 4, a motion to authorize execution of employee payroll disbursements dated February the 14th of 2023. And item 5, a motion to authorize execution of tax collector payroll payments dated February the 15th of 2023.
Motion to approve the agenda as presented.
I will second that motion. The motion has been made and seconded. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? The motion is carried. We'll move now to the reports from our treasurer and controller, and we'll begin with Linda Weaver for the treasurer's office. Linda.
Good morning.
Good morning.
We have an opening balance of $203,933,302.31. We have a balance to clear of $4,552,893.13, leaving us with a balance of $199,380,409.18.
Thank you very much, Linda. And we'll move now to our County Controller, Sandy Graffius, with the Controller's Report.
Just covered my camera with the paper. Sorry about that.
That's okay.
Okay, total cash disbursements, $14,166,930.30. We have a payroll coming up of $4,987,789.46 for a grand total of $19,154,719.76.
Thank you very much. And we'll move now to our COO. We might as well start with Ron, go to Kevin, or go to Kevin, start with Ron.
I've been designated to speak on behalf
There
of.
you go.
I have
Randy,
nothing to offer and exceed to
Okay.
my esteemed
Yes.
colleague.
And I do like the green and black.
Thank you. I've been asked to speak on behalf of Manny, Mo, and Jack. So we also would like to commend and praise Bob and his team and Derek Harris, who did a lot of the financial information, because as the commissioners pointed out, Bob wasn't going to let this thing go. I pitied the rating call person on the other end of the phone, as Bob, I think, spent 3.5 hours to finally and I said, I think you taught them things. And he said, I think I did, with their rating formula and how they grade. I think you really did Moody's a favor being on a call such as that. We have a real treasure here in our budget office in the form of Bob Patrizio. So great stuff. We continue as our team, Larry, myself, Britt, and Jess, to tour departments, meet and greet, so everyone can get to meet us and understand our goals and our expectations. We've met with the library system, planning department, and assessment. We'll continue to go throughout the departments, because we have the benefit of Ron being here. So he's holding down the fort while we're out there having cake and ice cream with the various departments. Also, we've had at least 3, and we're going to have to continue to have additional meetings on election recap. We're meeting with various entities that are part of the elections process. We met with the IT department and DES last week. We also met with the entire management staff of election services, and most recently with facilities. So for the public to recognize, there's so many things that go into pulling off an election, running an election. It's just all of literally many, many departments in county government. And it's great to have that synergy and teamwork as we move into the primary in May. Last but not least, on behalf of Julia Bagnoni, she is the court administrator for the County of Berks Court of Common Pleas, an update on the selection process for a new commissioner. The PJ and the Board of Judges are working diligently on reviewing all application submissions and anticipate to have a decision early next week. So that's the information we have coming forth from the Court of Common Pleas.
Okay.
So
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Commissioner Weinbach.
With that, we'll move to Commissioners' reports. Begin with Commissioner Rivera.
Yep. Thank you, Commissioner Leinbach. I do want to thank Derek. I did not know Derek was involved in the process, so thank you, Derek. And Derek is not part of Bob's department, so it's good to see that other departments were involved in that overall process as well. Also want to thank Kevin and Larry and the COO team and the election team for those meetings that they had this week. I was able to participate in those meetings. Something that's really needed was looking at the last election and saying, okay, what do we need to improve upon for this coming election? And although I won't be on the board after Monday, I did ask them that please consider doing the same thing immediately after the primaries now in May, where they will again get together and say what went well, what can we improve upon for the November election. So I want to thank them for taking the time and looking into that, as well as all the departments that were involved in that. On Tuesday, I had the opportunity to go to the Berks Latino Workforce Development Board. They have their building is here on South 4th Street. And Senator Scott Martin, who is new to Berks County, he now covers part of Berks County and part of Lancaster County, we were able to visit there. The work that's been that goes on there is great. There was a team there, a group of ladies, and I guess 1 or 2 gentlemen who were taking a course related to the health field to get some certification. And the idea is for them to be able to upskill themselves. The one lady works at Amazon, so she went from working 4 days to working less hours over 6 days so she could study at the same time she was working. And her goal was to be able to graduate there and get a job in the health field. So it's a great opportunity to help people upskill and move on in their career. Also, they're looking at doing in the lower level a culinary institute. So that's something that's in the works there right now. So it's a huge asset to the city of Reading and to the county, but especially to the city, because for a lot of people that live in the city may not have transportation. It's a walk to study instead of a walk to work. It's a walk to study. So they have right there what they need here in downtown Reading. So thank you to Senator Martin for coming in, and a great job to the Berks County Latino Workforce Development Board for the work that they're doing to upskill our residents here in the county. 2 other things. One, also want to let everyone know that both Commissioner Leinbach and I, as well as Larry, are heading down tomorrow to the National Association of Counties Legislative Conference in Washington, D.C. There will be different workshops going on there, different meetings, and we'll also have the opportunity to meet with Senator Casey on Tuesday. Not sure about Senator Fetterman. That's still in the works. Sorry, it's the other way around.
Yeah.
We're meeting with Senator Fetterman. Senator Casey is still in the works. So we do have the opportunity to let them know, what our needs here are in Berks County, and also learn from other counties throughout the nation as well, what our best practice is and what are issues that they are facing as well. So looking forward to that and coming back with some things that we can use here and implement in Berks County. And one other item is Go Eagles. We will be down in DC there. They will have in one of the conference rooms, they will have a big screen there with the game going on. So hopefully we'll be able to celebrate a win on Sunday. And Derek, sorry, but hopefully the Eagles. Oh no, you're not. You're not the Sixers fan. Sorry about that. Hopefully you are rooting for the Eagles.
He was looking for somebody to throw under the bus. You want to ask for a show of hands on who's an Eagles fan?
Well, he was just saying that it was the Sixers against who there? The Celtics, and he was saying that the Sixers lost, but that he's a Celtics fan, not a Sixers fan. So he was happy that the Sixers lost.
So now you did throw him under the bus.
Yeah. I also learned out that he's a chef as well. He made some egg rolls and pizza rolls from scratch, which is pretty amazing. So
Good stuff.
Yeah.
Derek amazes. So thank you very much, Commissioner. Just 2 items. NACO, the legislative conference is very much focused on federal policy, bringing in secretaries from various departments, and also meeting with legislators on Capitol Hill. Most of the meetings on Capitol Hill take place on Tuesday. I think I mentioned this before. It's not the normal time for legislative conference. Normally it's the end of February and the beginning of March, like the last day or 2 in February. But during COVID, the other facility that had a 5-year contract starting in 2021 closed permanently, and that was the Wardman Park Marriott. And there's not, believe it or not, in DC for our size conference, there's either this facility, which is the Hilton Capitol Hill, or it's the convention center. The convention center, NACO can't justify the cost to rent the convention center. So this is always a good event, and it's great for us in Pennsylvania because we can drive to it and get a lot of different opportunity. I do have a meeting set up with representatives from the U.S. Department of Transportation. That's one of the things that give us opportunities with different groups. I know Treasury is meeting with counties. I checked with our budget team, didn't feel there was a need for a meeting there, but we'll be meeting with representatives from the U.S. Department of Transportation. The only other thing I have to say is go Eagles. I just hesitate to do this because I'm not a betting man, so I don't have any money on the game, but I really believe the Eagles are the better team when you compare position for position. I don't hate the Kansas City Chiefs. I think Dallas is about the only team that I just don't really like. Hate, leave that for somebody else. But I think the Eagles are going to win by a touchdown. It could be better than that, depending on what happens with Patrick Mahomes. But if we've learned anything about Mahomes, you don't count him out. That guy is one of the toughest quarterbacks I've ever seen, and he's proved it in the playoffs this year. I don't even know how you throw without putting weight on one of your feet, and we saw that happening in that game. And it's hard not to be excited that Chad Henne, Berks County, Wilson grad, is in his third Super Bowl. And I haven't checked. I don't know if we have any NFL folks from Berks that have been in 3 Super Bowls.
Andre Reed probably was.
Andre,
Yeah, right.
well,
Yeah.
Super Bowls?
They were at 4, weren't they?
Yeah, I think
Not that they won, but they were in
Lost
4.
all.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Henne was in, they won 2 and lost 1.
they
right?
lost one, right?
Yeah.
So
Sorry.
it's good stuff. No,
Sorry,
that's
Bills
good.
fan across the hall here.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Don't throw people under the bus. It's okay. So we'll see what happens. I'm looking forward to the event. If the game goes south, I told my wife we're leaving the big room with the big screen. We'll go back to our room. But if it's a really great game, hey, we'll be there cheering our Eagles on. And I want to say one other thing. When I look at sports, I enjoy sports very much, but I do believe how you play the game is as important, if not more important, than wins and losses. And one of the things I love about the Eagles, and it's the same thing with Penn State, is that how they play the game is at the top of the list. From the coach to the players, it doesn't mean they're all perfect. But this cockiness that we've come to get used to in sports and in life in general, the arrogance, we don't need that. You can be courageous and kind at the exact same time. You can be a tough defensive player, a tough offensive player, and still be a kind human, decent human being. So I'm excited, and I think we'll have a great game on Sunday evening. That's all that I have. Any row officers' comments? I don't know that we have one. Okay, we will go to public comment. We have one individual in person that we know well, Senator Judy Schwenk, here to speak on a state item. If you want to step up to the microphone or come up to the podium. And I would say, out of courtesy for your position, and again, share your name, your municipality, but instead of the 3 minutes, we'll go to 5 minutes, which we're able to do at our discretion. You want to make sure that's on for her?
I got it.
Got it.
I got it. Thank you, Commissioner, and good morning, Commissioners.
Good
Good to
morning.
see you. Good to be back in this room. And welcome to our administrative team as well. It's good stuff. I'm happy to be here. The legislative item that I wanted to discuss with you is a new program, the Whole Home Repairs Program. And the reason I'm here, I wouldn't ordinarily do this. Ordinarily, I'd send you a letter, like you often send us correspondence about issues that you want to talk about. But I feel very strongly about this. And I feel that it's very important that we really work together on making sure that this program works well in Berks County. And I want to commend you, first of all, for even applying for the funds. My understanding is that there were a couple of our 67 counties that did not apply. And so the money will be allocated over those that do apply. However, it was a $100 million program. It's not a lot of money. It sounds like a lot, But when you think about having to spread that over 64 counties, it's not that much, but I think it can be significant for us. And I feel some ownership over the program, first of all, because it originated in the state Senate. My colleagues, Senator Nikhil Saval and Senator Vincent Hughes from Philadelphia, were the prime sponsors. But we actually even had a rally here in Berks County, down in Center Park, in support of this program before it actually was, actually passed. And, I think that it's such a unique opportunity for us in the Commonwealth. In my years in government, both county government and state government, I haven't seen a program like this that comes along very often that directly can help individual homeowners and landlords, small landlords with a minimum number of properties. It's a really unique opportunity for us, and it was very bipartisan, even from its origins, in terms of helping to get this passed through the state legislature and onto the governor's desk. So in Berks, I think you may know this because you've probably gone over it with your staff. Our allocation for the whole home program in Berks is about $3.5 or $6 million. But actually what will be available in terms of repairs is about $2.8 million, because some of it's going to be used for workforce development, which isn't a bad thing. And certainly there's administrative costs to running a program. So as any of us who have had any home repairs done know, that's not going to go real far if you need a new roof, a new heating system or something of that nature. You have a difficult task ahead of you in terms of determining who will be able to get that. And there's a lot of local support for this effort. There's many advocacy groups that were behind this program, and we've gotten lots of calls from people who are very interested in seeing how this will be implemented. And I think that's one of the reasons why I'm here today, is I think we need to get the word out about this opportunity, even though it's going to be oversubscribed. I still think we need to make sure that everybody knows about it. And the actual application process has to be one that's friendly to people. So many folks, and you know this as well as I do, they either don't have access to the internet or don't feel comfortable with it. Just because you have a cell phone doesn't mean that you can, put an application online for something of this nature. So I think we need to keep that in mind. I had a conversation with Ken Pick. Ken is, of course, your director of the Redevelopment Authority. And Ken, we talked about the program. This was prior to your application because I was concerned that we get in on time so Berks would be represented here. And Ken mentioned that there's some issues. He has some concerns with the way the program is being rolled out in terms of, how we can spend the money. And Ken, of course, is very experienced. He knows what he's doing in terms of these things. And so I would ask you and him to try to quantify the problems that you see as you work on this program. If there's issues that come up as we implement this, let's not wait until it's almost over and we've used all the money up to figure out whether we could improve the program on the state level or not. I would say to you that I'm hopeful, if this works, and it has to work, that we can get more state funding in next year's budget in order to extend this program and maybe make it a permanent function of the state or feature in the state budget. I feel it's that important, the kind of work that this can do in communities, not just through our county, but in the entire Commonwealth, in terms of being able to make sure that we improve our housing stock. And, so I'm asking you today, let's work together on this. I will be your advocate on it. I will help in any way that I can to help make sure that this program goes smoothly. And I'll also add to this, whole home repairs isn't the end all and be all, right? It's just one piece to the puzzle in terms of the issues that we face in housing in this county. Affordable and accessible housing is extremely important here. We need more of it. We all know that we've faced issues on emergency housing, dealing with the homelessness, problems that we face throughout the county, not just in the city. And I know you're doing some work on veterans housing and, some other, small scale efforts. And that's basically the way that it needs to happen. I had the opportunity the other day to sit in a meeting, like you're going to Washington to have a meeting. I'll go to Harrisburg sometimes to have meetings with some of our administrative staff. And this was with Robin Weissman, who is the director of the Pennsylvania Housing Financing Authority. That's the big overall agency in terms of finding state dollars for housing. And one of the things that I asked her about is, where's Berks County in terms of how aggressive we are in finding the funds that we need? And that's not just government that needs to be involved with this, but also private developers. We're not where we need to be, is what I learned. So I'm trying to unpack that a little bit and find out more about what we can do. I would just say that I see this as a partnership, and this is one that the county really has to take some leadership in. So I'm hopeful we can work together in making that happen. And I appreciate the time to stand here and talk with you. We should probably do this more often.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You bet. Any questions or comments?
Well, no questions, but thank you for the information. It's a great program. The program will be administered here in Berks County by Ken Pick and the Redevelopment Authority. They will handle the county portion. The city portion will be handled by Habitat for Humanity, and just because they're more familiar with the city and have dealt with the city before. And the part of workforce development is actually going to BCPS with the R3 program, because that program deals with training people in the trades area, which is, we thought would be the best place then to use money that was being set aside for home repairs, to use it in an area which people are being trained for that. And also to the other point of housing, as part of the Imagine Berks, one of the 6 main points is housing. And we're in the process right now of trying to hire a housing planner or housing coordinator to see, okay, how do we bring everyone together and what are the needs in Berks County and what can we do to help move housing forward here? So thank you. We're working on it.
May I just first commend you for the work in Imagine Berks. That's music to my ears to hear that we're going to have a coordinator. Senator Hughes and I have actually issued a co-sponsorship memo to try to do that same thing on the state level, to help coordinate all this housing funding and all of the, there's so many programs. They could be over a whole array of different state departments or agencies. So we're going to try to get our house in order as well, so to speak. So I'm very glad to hear that. And again, if I can be helpful, I stand ready to do that.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
There's no other comment online, so that brings us to the end of our. Sure, three minutes. And your name and where you're from.
Yes, Adrian Jedick from Wyomissing. Just wanted to say a few words about the process of selecting the replacement for the commissioner and the lack of transparency. And I wanted to ask you, I know this is not under your authority, but it has been, and I read the county code. Thank you, Anna and Marie, for forwarding it. But it does not say anything that the process should be run in total secrecy. And what I'm trying to say is transparency is good for all of us. And I'm trying to ask you to join us to ask from the court administration for a little bit more transparency. We don't know how it was done, how the selection, how many people. I mean, it was very little, and most of it was rumors. That's all. And I appreciate the time. Thank you very much.
Sure. Thank you. Again, what we know, we've shared. 22 total applicants. The judges, under the leadership of Judge Johnson, reviewed all of those applications, and based on that review, cut that down, I believe, to approximately 12 finalists. Those finalists were interviewed Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday of this week. And I completely support the court's decision to not make those names public. We don't do that here. You have people that are in full-time jobs. And it could hurt them it's a little bit like putting a job application out and your employer finds out they're looking for another job. So we historically, when we did the selection for the COO, I don't know what the total number was, but we didn't release the names of the 7 finalists, not one of them. We didn't release any names until we had the 2 individuals, and to this date, we've not released another name of anyone that was anywhere in that process, and it was way beyond 7. 7 were the finalists that were given to us by Herbine. So I understand the transparency, and I've had other people say to me, why won't they tell us who the people are? It's different than somebody signing up to be on council. On council, that's not even a part-time job, and I'm not knocking it. I'm simply saying an employer, as a rule, isn't going to be upset because somebody's seeking a city council seat. But they could be upset if a key employee they found out was seeking a full-time position outside of their employment, and then they don't get it. And now the employer is wondering, are you not satisfied? Is there an issue here? So it's out of respect for the applicants. So I normally don't jump in and defend, but I've heard that issue, and I can understand why people would think that, but I think it's imperative here that that process be private, those names be kept private. I mean, that's quite a few people when you think about the list of people that applied, and even the finalists, if you want to call that. So very good. Anything else?
Motion to adjourn.
The meeting stands adjourned. Go Eagles.
Yeah.
You put something in